Hey folks, what's up? We're starting a new series called album review, or mixtape review, whatever you want to call it. And today we're going to review a very popular album called Views from the Six by Drake. And you guys know Drake is a big rap artist, very overrated one in my opinion. And of course, no matter how bad the album is, no matter how bad it is, he's gonna sell 3 million records easily, at least. And today I'm going to review it and talk about what I thought it was, how good I thought it was, and really, you guys could give me some feedback and rate it in the comment section if your heart so desires. But anyways, we're gonna go into what I actually thought of the album overall. First of all, let me get this out of the way. I'm not a big Drake fan, not at all. I think he relies more on the studio than his actual talent level, and that's the big problem with Drake. Is that the big problem with Drake is that he relies too much on the studio and other people to support him and make his music sound like that premiere sounding crap, that premiere sounding shit. He relies too heavily on the studio to make sure that aspect is where he wants it, and that's the premiere auto sounding, flashy, premiere modern shit. And that's his signature, that premiere sounding, that very high class, high quality sounding shit. And the production level, I didn't really like it. His vocals brought in a good effect like it normally does, but for the main reason I don't like his vocals, it's very powerful, it's very, I don't know, it's very immersive, a very immersive vocal style, but one thing I have a problem with is because it's so unnatural. He definitely has over triple compression on it, probably some flanger, a lot of fucking delay, bunch of other bullshit, reverb, a bunch of shit, auto-tune when he sings, tune correction, everything. Anything you can imagine is on Drake's vocals. Because the main reason why is I don't think he will be satisfied with his vocals when he's actually performing, his vocals sound nothing like he actually does. You could still kind of feel that Drake vibe a little bit, but it sounds very empty, like very vague. And this is why I feel like Drake is too shallow with this shit, because he doesn't really have the talent vocally. He relies too heavily on the studio to make his vocal sound premiere and high classy sounding, superior sounding. Anyways, the vocals, I don't know, I'm not a big fan, but I do agree that they are immersive. They do add a lot of pizzazz to his music. But I like I'm only talking about the rap vocals that I like, minorly, that I barely like. The singing is awful, and it's even awful even with the auto correction and all that shit. It's still awful to me. Sounds like shit. He obviously doesn't have a lot of talent. He just could sell a record, sell millions of them, millions of copies, and make millions of dollars off it. And it's kind of sad, because really there's rappers with good talent that have been working on their craft for decades and they still aren't getting record deals. And Drake could sign to any major label and still sell millions of records. It's fucking trash. And so next part we're gonna talk about, actually fuck that, we're gonna wait. Alright, I took a fucking break because I had to let my fucking dog out anyways, fuck that shit. But the next part we're going to talk about is the fucking flow. And the flow isn't very good. It's very average sounding, especially for a rapper that's as hyped as Drake. The only song I really liked the flow on, I thought was pretty good, the only song that I even thought was good on the album was Hype. And that song, it just had the beat, it just sounded really classy, kind of like a tough sounding song. It was like Drake's premiere song on the album, I thought. It was his most classic work of the album, Hype. It just sounded really immersive, just really cutting edge. It's the only song I could vibe to on that song. It just sounded like a powerful song. Not really powerful, just like really like, just a really like catchy, kind of hooky, like kind of just like a trill ass song. And that was the only song that his flow was really spot on, but it wasn't even that spot on. It was probably the same level as probably someone as Lil Durk or it was probably on that same level, or Fredo Santana, like it just a flow slightly above average. But in all honesty, the flow was pretty shitty. And Drake has a tendency to just rely, you can't really rely on the studio for flow, but you could time correct the frame, make it sound more on beat, and alter the background, the tracking, the beat, make it sound like he's more a part of it. And that's why I think Drake is definitely, it classifies my point as Drake being a studio rapper. He relies so much on the studio, and for the most part, the flow was it wasn't offbeat, but it was very generic. It wasn't even generic, it was very boring. A very boring flow, and the beats didn't really help it at all, because the beats were just as boring. It may just because the flow was that fucking awful, but the beats really help. Like, you can't really get that good flow off a beat. But it's still professional level, but it's not as good. It's not nearly as good as some of these rappers, especially 90s rappers, where the flow was really prominent. That was a big emphasis. Now it's all about selling a record. See, the problem with Drake is that he has a mentality. There's two mentalities in the rap game, and this is why underground is much better. But underground artists have a much better skill set overall than professional rappers. There's two mindsets. One is just to fucking rap because you like it, which is mostly the underground scene. That's their big emphasis. Rap because you love it. Fuck the money. Fuck all the fame. Rap because you love it. And then here's the other mentality, professionals. I just want to sell a record. I want to get money. I want to fuck bitches. I want to get this fame, and I want to do it as quick as I can. I want to sell as much records as I can with making the least effort and relying on other people to make the sound premiere. And that's Drake. That's Drake's pinpoint. That's his pinpoint persona. That's his pinpoint theory. Not theory, but it's his philosophy in the rap game. It's just he wants to sell a record, and that's all it fucking is. That's all he wants to do is sell a record, and that's why his flow is just that. It replicates that sound. It just makes it sound distinguishable from that sort of aspect. Next, we're going to talk about the lyrics, and I find the lyrics very fucking not hypocritical, but ironic. Because 2 years ago, Drake said in a rap song, it was kind of like those gay-ass fucking songs that just gets you pumped up. It's like poetic shit. I'm not even sure if he wrote this, but it sounded like he wrote it because the lyrics weren't that great. But what is funny is that he said, "Oh, I'm not the best rapper. I study other rappers, but it doesn't matter to me," or something. He said something about he knows he's not the best, and he's not leading the rap game, and he knows that, and he tries to study other rappers' materials. I'm not sure if he's talking from the shitty ass rappers we talk about now, like the popular ones. There are some good ones that are in the underground scene, but most of the popularized, modernized, industrialized rappers that are just feeding off the money in the industry, those are the rappers that are just like Drake, where they rely on the studio, but Drake is most prominent in this. But the reason why it's ironic is because Drake was saying he's not the best, but in the one song he was saying he's the fucking best, like he's the best rapper. I forget what line he is, because I have a bad memory about that shit, but he said that I'm the best and everyone should be listening to me. He said something like that. It might have been in that, I forget, it was one of the first songs in the album, but I bought the album. It was in one of the first songs of the album, and it wasn't that great. It wasn't a great line. He said like something, "I'm the best, y'all should be worshiping me," and y'all should be worshiping me, or something, "Y'all should all be listening to me." And he's like, "Fuck those other rappers or other niggas." But honestly, it was just fucking hypocritical and ironic in a sense that he was saying that he's not the best 2 years earlier in 2014, and now he's saying he's the best. So that's why I feel like he doesn't write his own lyrics. Drake used to be a decent rapper back in the day when he wrote his own lyrics. But now, well, he allegedly wrote his own lyrics. He said he typed them on his BlackBerry. And I think he might have said that because if he would have wrote his lyrics, then they would want to see the music sheets. And maybe he said, "Oh, he has them on his I have them on my BlackBerry," but so people can't see him. But anyways, other than that, That's lyrically, the song was very average. It was below average, actually. The creativity in these bars and these punchlines were so fucking pitiful. Like, I don't even rap, and I could probably write better lyrics than this guy. Like, not, I don't know, maybe not. But, I would get pretty damn close to his level. And you could tell he doesn't have really talent at all in rapping, because he basically doesn't do anything himself. And lyrically, that shit was awful. Like, it was a mess lyrically. It wasn't too terrible, but it was a mess. The punchlines were very weak, and it seemed like he spent no time on. It actually seemed like this. It seemed like he could have spent no time, like little to no time, on his lyrics, or whoever wrote his lyrics spent little to no time on it. Or they spent a lot of time on it, but they're just that fucking awful at writing lyrics. It might go both ways. But anyways, the lyrics were pretty bad. It was talking about money, bragging about Rihanna because he fucks Rihanna. And he was bragging about how he gets so much money and his niggas are all the way up. No, not all the way up. His niggas are all doing fine and all living comfortably. And fuck, I can't say that shit. Comfortably. And they're all having fun, drinking the most expensive wine, champagne and shit. And he's just bragging, and I feel like he does it because he doesn't have any creative bars, and that's the problem with the industry. It's all about money, drugs, and hoes. That's all it's fucking about in cars. And Drake's like saying he drives a fucking Lamborghini, whatever, and it's slow to him. Like, how could you be that fucking selfish and greedy? Like, how could you be that fucking pompous? To brag and be arrogant like that to your fucking fans. And I doubt they care because they just like it because it's premiere sounding, it's catchy sounding, it's vibey, it's something you could bump in the car to. And it's really, as an underground fan, I can't fuck with his music. And I don't know. Hype had the best lyrics, or the first song on something family, I forget what it's called. I just listened to it. It was that awful, I don't remember the song names. But and that's all. And the singing shit was awful too, as well. Like, the singing was jack awful. Yeah, the singing, especially the lyrics. He was talking about love and shit, and it just really pissed me off. But that's basically all for the lyrics. We're gonna go and just give a quick synopsis, like overall review and conclusion, the synopsis of it right soon. So basically, this album was pretty shitty, and I really expected that from someone like Drake, who just gets money off the fucking basic hip-hop fans. And it's just so fucking, it was just trash. Like, I would call it trash. There was one good song, but the good song really made the rating go about a point up. Hype, I would give this album about a 4.5 out of 10, maybe even less, but 4.5 in a general sense. But without Hype, it would probably be like 3.5. But it was just such a bad album. Like, I couldn't connect with it at all. Like, I wasted $20 of this shit album that I really should have just bought Hype for $129. Like, it was a fucking disgrace. Like, and his fans still love it and ride his dick. But for me, I started growing up, ironically, listening to Drake and really liking that You the Best song and Headlines and shit. That was good to me back then, and that was some of his better work too. But with this shit, this fucking Views from the Six, he's progressively getting worse. And I just can't really fuck with his music. Like, it's not it's vibey and all. Like, I know it's cool. It's like premiere class shit. Like, he's trying to make this persona like, oh, he is rich and he is famous and you can't live the life like he is. And he's trying to, I think his message is, he's trying to show, I feel like this might be a message or like his purpose. He may try to be bragging, like showing how good the rap life is, how good it treats him, maybe to try to inspire other artists to try to become rappers because they want to replicate what he has, but that's just a very rough theory. But I think mainly he just wants to brag about his shit, or because all this shit is like gaudy, like it's just shit for show shit. Like, I don't know how people like it, honestly, man, but I'll give it a 4.5 out of 10, 4.5. In all honesty, I wouldn't recommend you buying it. I would recommend like a pop rap fan buying this album, but it was pretty shitty. There was one, if you are an underground hip hop fan, I would recommend Hype. But honestly, like, this album was pretty shitty. I was pretty disappointed with this selection for the review. Alright, if you like this review and agreed with me, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you. Bye.